So I'm going to draw a row of cacti that are going in 1-point perspective to use in a desert landscape drawing. So the first thing I'm going to think about is a landscape drawing. I need the bottom third of my paper to be the foreground of my drawing. So imagine my ruler here separating. This would be the foreground. My middle ground would fall about right here, and then my background would be sort of this area up top. So I'm going to add my horizon line, and I'm going to draw it pretty lightly because I have to erase it several times as I'm doing this. So I don't want to make erasing hard, so I'm going to draw very light. Next, I'm going to put my vanishing point, but instead of putting it in the middle, like a lot of people do, I'm going to give myself sort of an extreme perspective so I can see way deep into space. I'm going to move it over here to the left, and I'm not going to put it all the way to the left because I do want to see some things that are over here on this side that are close to me, but I want to make sure that I'm able to put things in perspective. So I'm going to move it over here today. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create guidelines so that I can make my cacti in perspective. And these guidelines are going to get erased entirely, so I'm going to press very lightly for these two. They're just there to help me. So make my bottom one here, and I'm going to make my top one here. So I'm essentially deciding how big I want my biggest cacti to be. So I'm going to move this up. So it's about, maybe about halfway up my page. That seems pretty good. So I start at my vanishing point on my ruler and I draw up to the end of the paper. Great, so now I have my two guidelines. The lower one goes below the horizon line, the upper one goes above it. And I'm gonna use these lines to draw my cacti in perspective. And cacti look like all different kinds of shapes. So I can draw ones that look more traditional. You got this little army guy, give him some little cacti. I like to call them arms. I don't know what they are, appendages maybe. So there we go. And then when I said we were erasing the horizon line a lot, that's because we don't see through the cacti. I guess I could make invisible ones or ones that are transparent, but not for this project right now. Save that for some other day. All right. Trying to make sure it shows up. So there's my first guy. He's pretty big. I could make him touch the bottom down here at the guideline. I can have it sit a little bit above. The important part is that all of them touch the top line because that's how I'm going to keep them looking like they get smaller and smaller and smaller. You'll notice as you do this, where you put the bottom is going to show you where the bottom is in space. So if I want to make it look like one's sitting further back in space, like not in a straight line, I can make the bottom move up shorter. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's say this one looks like a big oval. And he lives back here. So by doing this, adding a little bit of earth in front of it, so it's sitting in the ground, and then I'm going to erase my horizon line inside of it. Now it looks like this one is sitting in front, and this one is sitting a little further back. But to get this perspective, I'm going to keep on drawing some more cacti. So maybe this guy's got one arm. Sorry, cacti. Maybe he's got a good story about why he only has one arm. And then I'm going to add some more. And they get smaller and smaller and smaller as they get further and further away. This one looks like he's flexing. He's got muscles, cactus muscles. And maybe I'll do another, these guys back here. Maybe I'll do a weird one. Not weird, just different. This one's going to be like a bunch of oval shapes put together. He's waving high. Boop. And then we'll do some more back here that are further away. And as I'm drawing these, they're getting smaller and smaller as they go back in the distance, so that we get a sense of space in our drawing. Right, so that's the first step, is drawing our cacti in perspective. After this point, I can decide what other details I want to add in. If maybe I draw something larger, that's in the front here. Oh, that's going to run into my cute little cactus friends that are behind. So maybe I'll scoot it a little. Oh, look, he's saying hi. Take out those guidelines where they overlap. So this one's very close to me. It's like extreme close-up cacti. I can also add like things like rocks, other little plant guys. Oh, right. I can make little animal bones and stuff if I want to. There's a lot of things that hang out in the desert and perish because it's very warm. Hopefully you can't hear the geese on this video. They're really loud outside the window right now. Right, can add some mountains in the background. Or big rocks. So those, just like my cacti, get bigger as they get closer to me. I made them all pointy this time. I'm not sure why. They can really be any shape though. Right? So that is how you get started on your desert landscape perspective drawing, and the details that you add are up to you. But the most important part is adding your vanishing point, making sure you've got your cacti getting smaller and smaller and smaller as they get further and further away.